Welcome to another episode of the Be For Real #Leaders Matter. Today's topic is a sensitive topic. We're going to talk about mental health awareness. By the time you see this video, Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May, would have ended. But the conversation needs to continue. By the way, I'm Dr. E. Michelle Mickens. I'm the CEO of Live for Change. Live for Change is a Christian-based global strategic leadership development consultancy. Our primary focus is to help leaders wherever they are, whatever stage they're in. Doesn't matter if you are an emerging leader or an established leader, but we work with those in leadership positions that's desiring to transition from where they currently are to a stronger, healthier, more empowered place so that they can lead their organizations into true transformation. So we work with that leader individually, one-on-one. We have leadership coaching, executive coaching. We also have workshops that we do for the entire organization. And overall, our purpose, as I mentioned before, is to empower and help that leader progress through various stages and challenges that they face in leadership. And so today we're talking about mental health awareness. You know, this is a very, very steep, very broad subject. And one thing that's so important to remember is that we all have mental health, just like we have physical health. And just like our physical health is so important that we mind our minds, right? We want to pay attention to our feelings. For so long, we have been taught, especially if you're in a role as a leader, we've been taught to manage your emotions, which is absolutely necessary. You cannot be a dysfunctional leader being very emotional and full of feelings and act on those feelings because you put yourself at risk and your organization. So of course you want to be able to manage your emotions, but understand your emotions have purpose. So you don't want to manage in the sense of mismanagement and ignore them. And then you want to also pay attention to your team. You want to pay attention to your stakeholders, those who you work with every day, even your vendors and suppliers. You want to pay attention to how they are behaving and be of aid to them, especially in the season that we're in. We're still in a very volatile situation. This is 2020. And right now, we are still dealing with COVID-19. But we're also dealing with something that has been brewing that continuously happens, and we're dealing with racism. No one wants to talk about it, but there's a lot of emotions and feelings that are attached. Just by hearing the word racism, it conjures up a variety of thoughts. But when you talk about mental health, there is mental anguish that many, especially those who are Black, those who are African American, of African descent, they experience mental anguish just by hearing the word because we live it, because we are living in an age where people feel that they've been given a license to act out on what they feel, to act out on hatred that they feel towards a race that they don't have an understanding of and don't care. And so when you are dealing with some other human being that looks at you with disgust, that treats you as if you don't matter, it makes life beyond stressful. You talk about anxiety, you talk about high blood pressure, you talk about some of the outcomes of dealing with continuous stress and strain of hatred. Hatred has a lot of venom, and it actually poisons an entire society. We are created differently on purpose, and each of us need to know, need to learn how to embrace those differences. Most organizations have inclusion and diversity departments, right? Many have diversity and inclusion officers, whether they're one person making up both of those entities, or they have separated. They exist. And, I get feedback all the time. I too, I train in those areas. And you get the feedback that everything is very sterile when it comes down to trying to get to the core of change. How do you get people to change? Because without a desire for it, it's not going to happen. And so many laugh at a lot of the efforts that's made towards trying to bring cohesion and, making organizations homogeneous, if that's even something that is desired. But one thing that I know, we cannot sweep any aspect of mental health under the rug. It's all important. Whether we're talking about those with disabilities, whether we're talking about, and I probably was politically incorrect, and I apologize for that. There is no intent behind that. Whether we're talking about ageism, whether we're talking about different ethnic groups, whether we are talking about different lifestyles, everybody that has a pulse has a purpose. Everyone matters. And the impact to the mindset can be extremely overwhelming when you have all of these various social economic injustices. And they may or may not even be relegated to social economic situations. I just know that is one area. But it almost doesn't matter what your status is. What matters is that you're a human being, rich or poor, black or white, or anything in between. If you're a human being, you have mental health. And there are many factors that can impact our mental health. I was focused so much on COVID-19 because that brought on a whole new level of challenges when we talk about mental health. Being an African-American woman and then being what some would say an older or seasoned African-American woman in leadership brings a myriad of challenges. So you're layering all of these various things. I've dealt with, and I've shared this before, I've dealt with microaggression. For years, I've dealt with it not knowing that was what it was, because I think the definition is relatively new in the scheme of things. It hasn't been around for 20 years, I don't believe. But dealt with it almost consistently throughout my years of running various organizations. It didn't matter if I was an executive director or CEO, I faced high levels of microaggression, mostly because of how I would change my hairstyle or certain things that I would wear, because I absolutely love and embrace wearing various African attire. And every time I made any change that in the eyes of others who don't understand, they consider those changes to be drastic, I was questioned. Why? How? How do you make that? How do you do that? But then I also faced microaggression against my own sisters. They would say things like, you still wearing those braids? Or, you're pretty aggressive. Being called aggressive by a sister, it means something totally different than that accusation that I've never been called that by my counterparts. But to hear that from another African-American sister would bother me. Others would say, you're pretty passionate. And that's how I see myself. But the bottom line doesn't change. I'm here to just throw out some nuggets. There's certain things that we need to do. And awareness, self-awareness, always start with yourself. Ask yourself, why do I feel what I feel? Why do I feel a certain way towards a certain group of people? Should I change? Should I change? And do I want to change? Anytime we want to be better, then we're going to move towards whatever that means, whatever that needs to be. Some people will always be the same, and they're very content. And that's too bad, because they will remain small. But that doesn't mean you have to be one of them. Pay attention to your mental health. Pay attention to how you feel. If you are a leader, you will not be able to lead well if you have your own set of issues and setbacks. So pay attention to your mental health just like you would your physical health. Do whatever it takes to stay strong mentally. Your team so desperately needs you. You are of value like you would never really totally appreciate. So take care of yourself so that you can better take care of your team and lead them into true transformation. I'm Dr. E. Michelle Mickens. You can follow me on most social platforms under Live for Change LLC or Dr. E. Michelle Mickens. All links will be in the description bar to set up an appointment for a consultation or to have conversations about how we can set up training programs for your organization or for coaching. Whatever your need may be, reach out and connect with me. Until next time, thank you for your time. Take care.